I think she is like the right amount of brainy and corny and like quirky and serious that I'm because she's going to be the lead of the sequel now, right?
I hope not. I don't know about all of that one.
Why? I thought that was like the thing. Like she's kind of taking the lead. They might lean into her story about her becoming the Black Panther.
I I don't know Letitia Wright, so I can't really speak on her.
Okay.
But like, I don't know. She give me bad vibes. I don't know. I don't really like her like that.
What do you
Um,
mean? So I mean, I know there was a lot of stuff going on. So ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, okay. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of another relaunch. I'm supposed to be. I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be. Iron Fist because I read that this week.
oh, okay. Taking it to the martial arts. Okay, well, I am going to be. Um, let's go Green Lantern. I'm going to be Kilowog.
Oh, that's
Poser.
the right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
that's the big
Oh,
one.
yeah, I
The big
know.
alien looking one who trained the Green Lanterns, the new recruits.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I know who that is. Okay. Well, that's good. Well, hello, Kilowog. How are you this week?
I'm great. I have been super busy at work, but and that's been really stressful. So if there's any man out there who wants to save me from that, I am available.
Okay.
But outside of that, I've been really good. The weather here it's been all over the place. It'll be like really hot during the day and then freezing at night. So like the earth is dying.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that's right.
No, it's
Um,
not.
yeah, I other than that, I've been Gucci. No,
Okay. That's cool.
how
I
about
love
you?
that for you. I'm good. Work has also been busy, but it's
Doing
been like
yourself.
productive. It's good. The weather also has been all over the place, so it's like affecting my allergies. I'm like very congested on and off nonstop. I haven't been sick though, which is great. But um, other than that, I'm just living. Summer's getting around the corner, so I've been in the gym. I'm trying to get this like stomach and these abs together because I want to be outside for
Mm.
shirtless summer fun, safe shirtless summer fun. Again, I do
Hmm.
not want any more variants, so people please stay like safe. Keep washing your hands and all that good stuff, and so we can do that.
I
But
feel
other
you. I am not trying to wear a shirt. Okay,
than
I'm not trying to wear a shirt no more. So like, I get it.
yeah, they're out, they're over. I'm done with it. But other than that, yeah, I got comics to read. So
Yeah,
let's actually go
yeah.
ahead and get to them.
Let's do
And
it.
we'll start up with the new number one of the week, which is Iron Fist, and that comes from Alyssa Wong and Michael Yig. And so I don't know if you remember when I talked about the death of Doctor Strange tie-in with White Fox. She was with Swordsmaster, and like
Oh
he got
yes.
knocked off the cliff and all that. So they thought he was going to become the new Iron Fist. He does, in fact, become the new Iron Fist. We catch up with Danny, who did you read that miniseries Heart or Soul of the Dragon or something? It was with Iron Fist. It had a Koye in it, and like they introduced the little girl Iron Fist and some other folks.
I do remember when they had like the little girl Iron Fist, and because
Yeah,
I thought she was gonna become like the
the new
next Iron Fist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they let that go. So in that entire miniseries, like Danny ends up giving away the power of the Iron Fist, the chi abilities. He lets that go, so he's no longer Iron Fist. So we come to find out, Swordsmaster, when he fell off of that cliff and his sword was destroyed, the shards of it broke and embedded themselves into his hand, causing him like constant pain, but also like giving him a little extra ability with like his own type of stuff. And so because of that, the energy from the dragon that powered Danny went into Lenny. And so
Oh.
he now has the power of the Iron Fist. So we catch up with Danny and he's fighting some like monster. The new Iron Fist comes in, helps him with it. They meet. Danny's like, how'd you get this power and all of that? They tussle. The boy goes back to Kung Lao. And, we find out that he's been living there because he washed up on the shores after he fell off the cliff. And he's like becoming, living with the family there, taking up the martial arts and the skills and all of this stuff. But because of like all the stuff that's going on with his sword, his hands, the energy, these monsters are now attracted to it. And that's why they're trying to come and destroy him. And so that's where the issue ends. It was pretty cool.
It sounds kind of exciting.
It was a pretty cool and nice little introduction to the new guy. I don't know anything about Swordsmaster. Like, I didn't know anything about him before that White Fox tie-in, and I'm enjoying learning about him and like kind of seeing what he's doing. I'm always here for a fighter. I thought the stuff with Danny was pretty nice.
I know you let the girls have height.
Danny's like, who are you? But he doesn't really seem like he's trying to take it just yet. He just wants to know what's going on. I like Danny. I've read of him before. I've seen some solicits for a few future issues. I think like Bride of Nine Spiders and some of the other immortal weapons are going to pop up. So I'm excited.
Oh, okay.
I recommend it. The art, I thought it displayed the action pretty well. There was nice moments where they were like doing their kung fu and they were like doing the names of the attacks that they were using. The faces were a little off here and there for me, but other than that, I thought it was serviceable. I'm going to keep on reading, so I'd give it like a 3 out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might want to check it out. Maybe I might hit this up when it hits Marvel Unlimited. Because that design is hot. His new costume
design is very hot.
So,
new costume is like amazing, and I'm like really excited to see that be more in action a little bit, and like see a couple of other artists draw it. Like, ooh, if it gets a nice Quapel cover, that'll hit.
Ooh, yeah.
All right, and so next up on the list is Aquaman: The Becoming, number 6, and this is the final issue of this miniseries from Brandon Thomas and Seth Acuna and Diego Orortegui. And Jackson's journey has like come to an end. He's become Aquaman. Well, he didn't really like become Aquaman in the way that you thought he was going to become Aquaman. So the big war with Seth.
No. You kind of like fought with Aquaman.
The big war happens and like they go and just stop all the bombing of Zebel, and we see a lot of big action scenes. His mom gets hurt in the battle. One thing that I will say that I really like Brandon Thomas does well, he juggles a big cast very well. There are a lot of scenes like where we're going back and forth and we're doing like flashbacks of scenes that happened before this big fight to like it going now, and there's a lot of different characters playing, and I feel like he gets their personalities across, he gets the moments across, they land, and I think it's just really enjoyable. I think that the ending of this miniseries was the most interesting because it leaves everyone in kind of a different place. Arthur has kind of been saying this entire time that with Andy being born and him and Mara being married, something that they wanted a long time, they're in this new space and like they are evolving and they're growing. He can't be Aquaman in the same way anymore, so that's why he was training Jackson. Jackson comes along, and with Jackson's mom getting hurt, this is the first time he suffered like a big personal loss. And even though she's not dead, she's very badly injured. And so this is kind of like a start of a hardening for him. He's a little bit angrier now. He's kind of like growing. He's seeing what it really means to be a hero. Yes, he's seen people die before, but like this is someone that's close to him. And so he's like now pushing people away, and like we'll have to see that kind of being fixed. And then also at the end, we see that Arthur has called in Black Manta to help with something. And so, like, their relationship is just always fun, in my opinion. Like, Manta hates him. Like, it's really just, like, on
He
site.
really does.
Like,
when he showed up, he was like, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
Like, you just got
like, that's all it is. It's like there's no words. There's no hesitation. It's just like, we're going to fight. We're going to do this. And they do. But I love it because, like, at the end, like, while Manta's saying, yeah, I should kill you, Arthur's smiling. And he's just like, we're about to have a good time. So I think it leaves all the characters in a really interesting place. The action was great throughout. I'm still a little iffy on the whole surprise sister reveal that we got in this story, but I guess we'll see how it plays.
I'm sorry. It's not that I dislike the character. She's cool. I didn't need her to be his sister.
I think I'm just over like sibling reveals.
Yes.
I'm sorry. She's cool though. She's got a cute look. We love a black girl over here, so we're gonna do it. She's like a water girl. I love the water girls. It's gonna be cute. But all in all, I enjoyed a lot of this. This final issue, I would give it a nice little 4 out of 5. I thought it was great. I think it's again still a really nice introduction for people who want to meet Jackson and like want to get into his stories to Aquaman. I think it's great.
Yeah, I agree. I would also give this a 4 to 5. I thought the art was really bright and fun. The action was great. I liked all the little training scenes of him kind of using his powers and trying to make like solid hard water
Yeah.
weapons. I thought that was really cool. Um, yeah, I enjoyed like this a lot and like getting into Jackson's head and kind of really seeing who he is. He's got a little sass to him, a little bite. I like
Mm-hmm.
that. Normally, I
Mm-hmm.
don't like them when they don't have any of that.
Yes.
And at the end when he was like, "I'm gonna be Aquaman," they call me that. Like it is what it
Cool.
is, and kept it moving. I like
Like
that there
period.
wasn't like he didn't feel like he needed to like I don't know grovel to Arthur or
Yeah.
something, and he's his own character. I like that.
Very much so. They're like really developing him, and it's great to see. I won
Hmm.
with that.
You won. You won.
Alright. Next up on the list, we have Nubia in the Amazons #5, and this comes from Stephanie Williams and Vita Ayala with art by Alyssa Martinez. And I'm not gonna lie, I think I'm hopping on the Nubia train, like a little bit more than I already was.
Right.
If that
Right.
makes sense. Like, why I might be
Yeah.
like rooting for her in the trial of the Amazons now to like really do some damage and like
Yeah.
show the stuff. Because this was a really nice issue for her. We start out and she is fighting Medusa behind Doom's doorway.
Doom's doorway.
And she's got her little staff and it's doing its
I
stuff.
love that staff. I'm sorry.
The staff is hot.
I love
the
it.
staff is hot.
I love a good staff.
With the spear at the end and it's like moving and she's doing all these things that she's like, I've never been able to do this before.
That's hot.
And,
now I will say when she was fighting Medusa though, and like it just like magically appeared, I was like, all right, girl.
Yeah. we gotta give it to her. Sometimes it just gotta happen. That's just how the magic works. We flow with it. But they end up fighting and we see Medusa gets turned back into a normal human, and then Nubia brings her across Doom's doorway back to live on Themyscira with the other Amazons, letting her know that hey, you're gonna help people now. Some people might not trust you, but we're gonna like fix things. And after that, we kind of just get into the rest of like the Amazons that are there. I thought it was really interesting to see like those other Amazons who returned from the Soul of Wells kind of facing like, I guess, some heat from the regular Amazons.
Yeah.
And they're like, y'all are cursed and you're not the real girls. And it was just like, ooh, not a little self-hate going on around here.
Right? Like, he's gonna hit them. We all the same, girl.
Okay, all right, what's
like,
going
who cares
on?
if I came from the Well of Souls, if you like, I don't know, magically got here, whatever. We all magically got here.
Sorry, you came from clay? All right, girl. But no, that was really nice to see. And then, we see Nubia dealing with like some of the other Amazons and just like really setting her place and affirming her spot as the queen of the Amazons, which is also going to get made official again after the Trial of the Amazons event. We saw that she's getting her own coronation special in May, so that's going to be really exciting. I think this has been like a really cool deep dive into her. I want that little face shield she was wearing in the beginning to come back.
I knew you were gonna love that.
Everything.
I knew you were gonna love that. If
Everything.
it wasn't an all-white costume, you love a face shield.
Like every time, and it just looked good. And it's like, what you need it.
You need it when you're fighting Medusa, so that
She don't gotta wear it all the time because she got a pretty face. We know the people love to see the dolls in their faces. But like, we can get a nice couple battle moments of her leading the girls out into war, and she throws on her face shield.
Yes, I will say for me with Nubia, this issue definitely like made me like her a little bit more. Previously I was been saying like she kind of perfect. Now I will still kind of say she is kind of perfect, but I'm excited to get to what I feel like I would like for her, which is honestly because I wasn't too much into this story of like kind of redeeming Medusa. I didn't really need to have her like turn back into an Amazon and like join them at the end and do all that kind of stuff. It just kind of made me realize I don't really know if I'm necessarily into this story, but I'm into Nubia. So like, and I really just want to see Nubia beat some ass. So
I actually really like I'm usually with you on the whole kind of, I guess, quote unquote redeeming villains,
Right,
but I don't necessarily. I don't know if I see this as. I was about to say, I don't know if I see this as a redeeming moment for Medusa, but I do also find the aspect of her being turned human and living on the island very interesting, because I think even like someone said, like snakes shed their skin as well. And there's still a snake at the end of the day. So I think there's still going to be some other stuff going on there with Medusa and like some plans. If we can get maybe some type of hybrid form where we still get like some snakes coming out and she turning people to stone, I think that would be really cool too.
Yeah, that would be really dope. We'll see.
We will. What would you rate this issue?
I would give this issue a 3.5 out of 5
Okay.
for sure.
I would actually, I would give this one a 4 too. But I really like a couple of things that happened in the
Yeah.
way. So I was all about it. And last up on our list is X-Men number 8, and that comes from Gerry Duggan and Pepe Larraz. And I know this is your book, so take it away.
Okay, so like the X-Men series for me has been a slow burn of getting better. I realized that like I feel like it was a lot of like moments for it, but like I wasn't too into it. And this issue is, first of all, it's got AIM in it, so I was excited for it there. It was one of my favorite like Marvel groups of villains. I think they're fun and they give the heroes something to fight. I like to see the people fight. And I've always enjoyed all of the like human resource kind of humor that they always give the AIM characters. Like they'll show them talking to each other and all of a sudden they'll say like, oh, we don't have the best insurance here, but like the dental plans are great. That's why I signed up. So like, I think they're really funny. So I was excited for that, but we didn't really get a lot of AIM in this. This was actually like more specifically MODOK. MODOK is the big floating head thing, and I think it's the organism designed for killing. But he has released this virus and like a test on some people on this cruise ship that is going to like increase their fight or flight and basically like cause everyone to just go crazy on this boat. And the X-Men are coming here to stop it. And we mostly get into the head of Laura and Synch. This is actually pretty much a Synch heavy issue. Synch and Laura actually have their conversation about what happened in the vault and like their relationship stuff. And Synch actually does have a flashback to his speech in the for the X vote, and he said, he wants to vote for, like he wants to do it for Laura, like he wanted to do it for her. But then he like backtracked and said, he backtracked and said, no, I mean like she should do it, like he was going to vote for her. But I think, and it was kind of showing that like he has these kind of feelings for her. But then they addressed those feelings as well, and because later on, we find after they like defeat MODOK, Synch has been synced up with Jean, who like I'm not gonna lie, Synch a little overpowered because the team at this point the team like separated a little bit because they had the team go off and save the people on the cruise ship, but Lorna with her powers noticed that there was a ship up in the sky that was like also cloaked. Rogue went up there to go and handle that, while Jean and Polaris like rescued people from the ships. So like they're all separated and like going their own separate ways, but Synch was still able to like sync up with Jean. I don't know how long his range is, so like I don't know. that's pretty far. But we later find out while Cyclops is Captain Krakoa, he has a conversation with Synch, and Synch reveals that he was the one that erased I can't remember his name, Daily Bugle guy. Ben. Oh,
Ben Urich.
Ben Ulrich.
Oh,
Urich, yeah. That he was the one that erased his
that's actually
about the whole like finding out about the situation. Yeah, I thought it was. He has like a whole sit down with Scott, and he's like, sorry, I was the one who did it. Like, I wanted to let you know. He was like, I get you in trouble. And Scott was like, double trouble, because, I asked both my girls who was doing it, and and now I look like the dummy. But Synch afterwards, like, what if I don't want to be on the X-Men anymore? Like, I love what I'm doing and I want to rescue people. But he's like, I feel like I'm messing up by using my powers to tamper with Ulrich. And I feel like I'm like thinking about Laura too much. Like, what if I don't want to do this? And Captain Krakoa says, you'll be done when I say you're done. And then the issue ends. So I think they're like trying to build some like tension between Cyclops and Synch. I think what made me like this issue more so than previous ones was that's actually what I feel like I'm missing from this book
Okay.
is there like the tension between the characters and where their own personal goals and personalities are kind of like conflicting with each other, and that's how we kind of see what the team is kind of going through.
Okay.
And when he says he's thinking about Laura, he specifically says, I'm thinking about my Laura, which is the version of her that I met and like fell in love with in the vault.
Yeah.
And that's not actually who she is. So like
Mm-hmm.
I have to move on from that. Like what if I need to take that time up and not be on this team? So I do appreciate that kind of stuff building into this series so far. Obviously, I think that I'd like a lot more of that amongst more characters than just it being always just two, you know? So I do think that I would like a little bit more juggling of the cast, because Lorna, Jean, and Rogue weren't in this at all. Rogue again, just like
Yeah.
she's driving the ship.
Poor Rogue fan.
Yeah. And you know what's wild? I was thinking about that recently. I used to be a Rogue fan.
Did
Like,
you?
but then, yeah.
I feel like
But
as long
then
as I've known you've always like hated Rogue.
I know I never hated Rogue. I used to like Rogue. That X-Men Legacy, that was like Rogue when she has her powers under control. I loved that.
Okay.
That's the Rogue for me. I hate 90s Rogue because why are we still here?
That's fair.
You know, why are we still doing this? Rogue with her powers under control, but then I also realized like I can't keep holding on to just that X-Men Legacy era. That was 15 years ago.
That was a long time ago, baby.
She hasn't been that.
In a long time.
So, yeah.
Well, what would you rate this issue?
Honestly, I'd give this issue also a 3.5 out of 5, leaning maybe towards a 4, but maybe such a 3.5. This was by Gerry Duggan, and I think Javier Pina did the art.
Oh, it wasn't Pepe, this issue?
No, he has a similar style to Pepe. It was like kind of, you know, I do appreciate when they kind of find fill-in artists that like has a similar style, so it doesn't kind of break up the vibe, I guess, of the series. This was drawn by Javier Pina. But I would like to see a newer artist come onto this, like a different style artist, someone that maybe a little less ink heavy and maybe like that allow more colors and make it like brighter.
Okay.
I think I'd like to see that in like an X book. This.
Okay.
But yeah, I enjoy. We'll see.
Simping over that white woman sounds a little weird, but
yeah. But he's not doing it no more. He said that, you know.
So he says. We'll see.
Right.
We will see. But okay. You guys let us know what you think. Those were the books of the week. Let's take a little break and then we'll come on.
Hold on.
Oh wait. Hold on. Okay.
Hold on. We got to talk about it because there was another book of the week that I forgot about, and that was Black Widow. And the reason I forgot about it was this whole like comiXology thing.
It didn't download onto my app. And then when I tried to search it, I still can't find it.
What's going on? I don't like this.
It's nasty. And you know, at first I was like, and you know, I'm not smart in the way that a lot of the like literary scholars are, and they talk about their comiXology stuff and like what they're doing with it and how they've got all these various archives. And I was like, I don't know about all that. All I know is it's ugly and I can't find anything.
It is very ugly. It's very clunky, and it feels like someone at Amazon was like, oh, just roll it all up into Kindle and whatever. They can figure it out from there.
Fix it. comiXology, Amazon, Jeff Bezos, whoever.
Fix it now.
Kamala, Biden, somebody get involved.
Whoever.
I can't do it. I'm sorry, I can't go back to physical books. I don't like have the space. My pull list is too heavy for that. I can't transport all that back.
Where you want me to put these books at?
Do you know how big long boxes are?
No. I don't have no. I'm not. You want me to have a bunch of comics laying out around my apartment? No.
I
I love
have
the
like a
space.
few book. I have a few bookcases for like some trades and like the occasional one-offs.
Yes.
And I want to get like variant covers that are special and things like that. Yeah, cool. I can't do it with everything though. I'm sorry.
Mm-mm. I read too many comics for that. This is something that drives me towards more the Marvel Unlimited and DC Infinite and waiting for books because like the user interface for me to read the monthly books on sucks.
Fix it.
Fix it now.
All right, now we're gonna.
All right, now we can take a break. All right. Welcome back, everybody, for the panel section of the show. And this week, I wanted to do a character spotlight on my very favorite DC character, and that is Mr. Green Lantern himself, John Stewart.
Okay.
Yes, I feel like I don't talk about him a lot because I feel like I've been talking about him a lot my whole life because he's just been my favorite for so long. And I'm also like not really reading his current series right now, but we'll get into that a little later.
Okay.
But I've been a fan of his for a really long time. He's really like been a big staple in my like comic book like upbringing or whatever. I pretty much started on Marvel, and like I've pretty much always been Team Marvel. And my dad is the one who kind of got me into comics, and he's always been Marvel. At least that's what he liked to say. Later found out he told me that he actually started with DC like before I was born. Like he was a DC fan, and Batman was his like that was his fave.
Wasn't naming everybody's.
Truly, when he told me that, I was like, of course. So like a lot of my like forays into DC, I was kind of like left on my own devices because my dad wasn't doing it, and I was pretty much younger getting comics, so like I wasn't really buying books until I was like maybe 20.
Okay.
I had been reading books for a while like before that, but I wasn't like actively purchasing them like on my own. So I was like 19, 20 years old. And that is actually when I really started to read more into John. Prior to that, like a lot of my interactions with John were like one-offs, like random DC issues that I would see if he was like on a cover or something. And do you guys have a Borders books in?
Oh yeah, I used to love Borders, baby. I used to have my mother take me there all the time.
Okay, so like I used to go back there and they would have comic books. So like my mom would go to TJ Maxx or something, and I would be like, I'm gonna go over to Borders. Because they got comic books in there, and I would like sit and read them. And anytime I would see something with John on it, like I would pick it up. So it was a lot of like random one-offs, and then of course the animated series when I was younger, that just really hit for me because again, John was just he hit all of those. You know how we talk about like having those things that we have like those pillars that just really make a character great. And like for me, I love the space.
Yeah,
I do. I do love space. I love the cosmic stuff. I love the like pragmatic kind of like very thought hero. Like they're like not super emotional. They like kind of think things through. And I like the like protector kind of character. Like they're not the champion, like the big hoorah, I'm the leader, but they are the first ones to get up and kind of protect. So like those are my kind of types, and John really hits a lot of those, like all of those. So he's always been kind of it for me. He was actually created in like December 1971, like January 72 is like kind of when the book came out by Neil Adams and Dennis O'Neil. And the way they came up with the idea for him was like they already had Hal and like all these other Green Lanterns out there. And wow, during an interview back then, they asked them like, "Oh, what makes you make like a black Green Lantern?" And they were like, "It just makes sense. Like
Okay.
It
Period.
they will,
Like, what else? What else do you need to hear?
like it truly just makes sense. Like, why wouldn't we have a black one? So I've always appreciated that. And when he debuted in Green Lantern Volume 2, number 87, and he was on the cover, like, I'm the Green Lantern now. And it is a very powerful book, in my opinion, a very really dope origin, because we see John and his architecture, like he's just finished up with that. He's back in Detroit, in the hood. And we see Hal and the Guardian come over to them, and they say, that is going to be your replacement, like your fallback should anything happen to you. And Hal is like racist because he was like, him, oh, what? I don't really need this. And the Guardian was like, we don't really care about any of your like racial issues that you have with him. We see specifically say that.
Like, that is crazy.
They were like, we don't really care about whatever racial problems you have with him. We see him as someone who is strong enough to do this and strong-willed. And Hal is like, what? Like, I didn't think of anything with race. I just think he has this like chip on his shoulder. So we know he was really trying to say. Exactly.
I just do not understand the Hal Jordan love. I try and give every character a chance. I try not to speak on anyone who I haven't read about, but I've read a couple of Hal Jordan stories, and I just don't see it.
I don't see it either. I'm sorry. And I'm a big Green Lantern fan, obviously, but Hal is just, I don't know. He was better as Parallax.
It's like I've just never seen a blander character.
Yeah.
And now he's racist. It's crazy.
Yes. Yes. So, I mean, during his origin, what happens is he ends up getting the ring, and Hal tells him, you're going to be my backup should anything happen to me. And he accepts the offer to, first he didn't accept, but it was like, actually, I will take on this job. Like, I will be your Green Lantern, but I'm not wearing a mask. Like, they could put him in the Green Lantern suit, the standard like training uniform, which comes with a mask. And he took his mask off and was like, I'm not wearing this. I want people to see that I'm black.
I feel like they still a song. The mask don't cover that much.
I mean, right. I get your point, John. Like, I think they still see that you're black. But I really appreciated that like they really ingrained a part of his story was like he is very proud of
Black Green Lantern. I'm proud of that. Emphasizing that, yeah.
Yeah, so I do appreciate it like off the bat. And getting into his stories, John has had like a lot of stories because he's been there, but a lot of times they haven't focused a lot on him. More recently, anyway. His biggest story, of course, is Cosmic Odyssey, and so like after he got the ring and he had trained for a while, he was trained with this woman named Katmatui. She was an alien from Koragar, which is the same planet as Sinestro. And she was his trainer. They fell in love. They, that whole like cliche kind of story of the trainee and they like don't like each other, but then they end up falling for each other. They end up getting married. And he at back then, John was a lot of fun. Like he was kind of like not a hothead, but like he was fun. He would get up and get active with stuff. He wasn't as super serious as he has been recently, but while he was a Katma, he was like really happy and fun. He wasn't the biggest fan of Hal and Hal's relationship with this girl Arisia, who I'm sorry, not Arisia, Arisia. She is kind of young looking and like.
Is she the pink girl?
She the girl with the skirt.
Oh, she's orange.
She's like oranges, yeah, with the like white top and the skirt.
Yes.
Yeah, well, she looked like a kid, and Hal and her like had a little relationship, and John was like, I don't like it. I don't think that's right. Katma was like, you and I are aliens, and we are in love. Like she isn't from Earth. She says that she's an adult or whatever, and John was like, but still, she looks like a child, and she like how I kind of trained her. It's giving weird. So one thing I always appreciate about John was that John will check Hal. He isn't like,
I was about to say, what is their dynamic become in later years, in like more current decades? Are they super friendly? Are they still a little antagonistic towards each other? How does that work?
I feel like they have become like friends, but
Yeah.
like John would obviously like get up and help him because that's like his homeboy or whatever. They go back, but like that does not mean there was not a lot of friction between the two
Yeah.
of them throughout the course of their like friendship, especially with Parallax and with everything that happened with Katma. So um after John kind of became like Green Lantern and he was fully into himself, he went through the whole Cosmic Odyssey miniseries, which I do recommend. I wasn't the biggest fan of the art, but I do
Hmm.
recommend. It was a really fun um, event. In the Cosmic Odyssey, the anti-life equation is like basically alive, and he sends out these three avatars to kind of basically destroy the universe. And Darkseid ends up like reaching out specifically to John Stewart, Green Lantern, Starfire, and asks them, as well as like a few other people, Superman,
Hmm.
to kind of help out with this situation. And they send the teams to go after the three different avatars of the anti-life equation. Starfire did take care of hers. So shout out to Corey. But John actually, they were supposed to use this machine to capture the anti-life equation. He ended up like breaking his because like
Hmm.
he was trying to like help these people and like show that he's a Green Lantern. He's like, I can do anything with my ring. Like I got it. It's no problem. And his ended up breaking. But then again, he's like, whatever. I'm a Green Lantern. I can just make the device with my ring. So he makes the device with his ring. But by the time he gets to the anti-life equation, like there's a bomb and the bomb goes off and the planet is destroyed. Um,
Mm.
and this is kind of where things end up kind of taking a turn for John. He ends up actually wanting to commit suicide because he
Mm.
couldn't end up like taking the pressure and like the effect that it was having on him mentally after like basically kind of being the reason that this planet was destroyed.
Yeah.
Um, Martian Manhunter at the time was his partner to go and stop the anti-life equation.
Hmm.
And he kept telling him, maybe we should do things a little better. And after the planet got destroyed, he was like, I'm so disappointed in you. Um, this is now the second home that I've now seen destroyed, or like the second planet that I've seen destroyed, um, all because of your ego and because you feel like you're so sure of yourself that you think you don't need anybody else and that you can
Yeah.
just get it. And I also kind of like resonate with stories with that. um,
I would say Martian
so
Manhunt letting the chopper sing. Okay.
he was. And so yeah, after the Cosmic Odyssey, he almost did try to commit suicide, but his ring ended up saving him. And Martian Manhunter kind of had a conversation with him, like, you need to forgive yourself. And there was nothing you could have done. Um, Once the machine broke, like there was nothing we could have done there.
Mm.
So after that, he ends up going to the this like makeshift world um, that the Guardians make of all these like different like refugee camps of aliens, and he ends up
Okay.
becoming like the Guardian for them. It's kind of he looked at it as like his like I don't want to say a prison, but like his like something he feels like he had to do in order to get over the whole Sanchez thing.
Okay.
It was like kind of had to go and like maybe help out these people to kind of oversee this thing. This is actually when he does end up becoming a formidable character again, and he kind of gets back to being John. He ends up becoming a guardian of the universe. So
Oh, okay.
he doesn't become like a little blue person, but uh, but he is like accepted into that, and he like becomes the first human, the first mortal to ever be accepted as a guardian. Now,
Yeah.
all of this ends up becoming tragic because once he reaches the guardian level, he's able to like communicate with anybody.
Yeah.
Now, remember earlier I said he had a wife, Katma?
Yes.
Well, she was murdered, like brutally
Mm.
murdered
Oh.
by Carol Ferris, Star Sapphire. Like the
Queen. Oh, sorry.
She like has a her Star Sapphire alter ego was like I guess kind of crazy, and she hates Green Lantern. And at the time, Hal Jordan wasn't Green Lantern anymore. John was. So she tracked him to where he lived and showed up to his apartment while Katma was home. And she was like, where's the Green Lantern? And Katma was like, oh, he's not here right now. And she was like, well, you'll do. And she like brutally murdered her. And John ended up like coming back and like seeing her. And Hal and John ended up having a huge fit because they were like, she ended up getting killed because of you, because of like this Carol Ferris situation is your problem. Why am I affected by it? So like they ended up having a fit there. After his whole guardianship thing, Hal Jordan is Parallax. And for those who don't know, Parallax is this like entity of fear. It is the like yellow entity. And basically it's like kind of a Phoenix Force kind of thing where it possesses people and it gives you all these powers. Yeah. I am okay with it in space. They don't do the whole like they don't overdo it like they do with the Phoenix. And they tried to use Parallax as the scapegoat for Hal Jordan after he became a villain. Hal Jordan went back to his original city. It was destroyed by Cyborg Superman, and he just basically lost it. And he destroyed the entire core, took everybody's rings for himself, and declared himself like the boss of everybody. And he called himself Parallax. Now to kind of like
it's so interesting that the like bland white men characters like Hal Jordan and Warren Worthington, they're at their most interesting when you make them evil. Hal is Parallax and Warren is Apocalypse, because you're just leaning into them.
Yes, lean into that. Just leave them there.
That's the only other time they got a personality. Nonetheless, continue, please.
So while he is Parallax, though, he actually does end up destroying the central battery, which is like the battery powers all the Green Lanterns. And after Katma was killed and John had later became a guardian, his guardian powers allowed him to like have a new level of awareness where he was able to actually reach out to like the spirit of Katma and have conversations with her. So he was like kind of healing there. But once John became Parallax and destroyed the central battery, he lost his powers and like lost being able to talk to his wife. So again, that all goes to say that they don't have the best relationship because Hal is still evil and racist, but but they have like turned it around, and that is like his friend. They in the core together.
I think the most interesting thing about John, and like so far of what you've said so far, is like how much younger he's supposed to be than Hal. Because I'll never forget the day you told me like he's supposed to be what, like 30s? I think?
So like how old would you consider like Hal and like Bruce and all of them? If they're in their 40s, John should be in his 30s.
So my thing is like I do consider them in like their 40s. However, I never saw John as being younger than them. I always saw him like also just being in his 40s, and because it's like it's not like him and Hal are related or something like that where he's a little brother and he has to be younger. I've always just seen it as like, oh, like this is just another old guy meeting up with the old guys. But I think a big part of that is because of the cartoon. And I feel like I might have said that before. Like cartoon, Justice League, Green Lantern, and I think that was like my first big introduction with John because I didn't read his comics, I didn't read the Green Lantern stuff. I think when I was really into DC, it was mostly like Aquaman stuff, obviously. But so that cartoon was like a big introduction for me into him. And like I'll never forget, I actually saw Phil Lamar at a Comic-Con one year here in DC. They do this thing called Awesome Con, and it was like really interesting. And so he was there, and it was talking about like a black characters in comics type of panel situation. He was up there and he's talking, and he like did his John Stewart voice for like a couple of lines.
Dope.
And like I got a little emotional. I teared up a little bit. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, wow. Like that really just hit me a little bit. But thinking about that cartoon, I feel like the John there was all like presented a little bit older because I guess he was that Justice Leaguer, so he was there with like the Bats and the Supermans, and so like I think his hairline, I feel like they gave him gray hair too. And then when they made him bald, it was like, oh yeah, this man old.
So, yeah, you know they made him bald because they don't know how to draw black hair. So like, you know they only give black men. It's either you bald or you got to fade.
Okay. You might get some dreads.
I was gonna say they just now started to give them, you know, the locks.
No, I get those. But yeah, so I think those were always like my big things with John. Is like I remember liking John a lot from that. I also remember a lot of not necessarily backlash, but I guess just like complaints about John and his use of the ring, because I never really assumed that the Green Lantern's ring was as powerful as it was until I started really getting into Green Lantern's characters. But when I think about John in that cartoon, it was always like a shield here, a beam there. I think when it switched over to Justice League Unlimited, they started to get a little bit more like creative with how he used it. Probably in the later seasons too, but it always felt very like basic, and so it was like all of that was like really just what I knew of John. So I think I'm trying to think of when I really saw him in the comics for the first time.
Was it probably something JLA related? Like when back in like the early 2000s, like mid 2000s?
You know what I actually think it was? It was that Titans versus the JLA crossover. The one we read.
Yes. John.
But like I remember that. I think that's what I really remember first seeing of him in the comics. I mean, like, oh, like here's this guy, and then kind of be like, I should get to know a little bit more about him. And I think really I never did that because again, the Green Lanterns have never really been my thing. But they've
also really focused a lot on Hal.
Yes, that also. But I do remember two instances. One, I feel like John became a Dark Star, didn't he? With Donna.
Yes, he did.
Yes, that was hot. I remember that because I was like, damn, like these Dark Star costumes are hot. Like still some of the hottest designs
so hot
in the comic book. I'm sorry, that's what's hot.
So
and then
the Dark Star thing actually happened after the whole he was on that Planet and Guardian thing and Hal destroyed the battery. That's when he became a Dark Star. Like right after that.
Good time. That was a good time. And
one thing about it, he's gonna get some kind of energy powers and be out there protecting the people.
And that's what you love, and that's why. But then I think the next big thing I really saw him in was obviously when Jeff Johns came back onto like the Green Lanterns and revamped the Corps, and then we got like the big Blackest Night, Brightest Day stuff.
Yes, yeah, Blackest Night and Brightest Day were some of the fun stuff I thought with you. And you really do see a lot of like John's character and who he was in there amongst, and how he differentiates it, how he is different between the other Lanterns. Especially in after they had the Brightest Day and Blackest Night and Brightest Day, there was War of the Green Lanterns, where basically there was something wrong with the rings. I think it was Parallax, and pretty much anybody with a Green Lantern ring were being controlled, and the Earth Lanterns like took their rings off and they had to put other ones on, and John actually was going to pick Orange, the Avarice emotion, but he ended up going with Compassion. Actually, I think it was Kilowog who was like, I think this one is the one you actually should have. And he had that one. He actually kind of struggled with using that ring because the purple ring allows you to tap into, because it's Compassion, you get to tap into the other emotions, and you have like a bit tapping into like the other specific emotions. And I kind of interpreted that is because he can be kind of pragmatic and like logical about stuff. He was like an architect. They later said that he went to the Marines. They did what I was okay with by saying that, like, you know, they have to give these characters like training and stuff because it's like I can't do all of this stuff all of a sudden. So I understand like kind of making him a Marine. They just made it where he went into the Marines to pay for architecture, like school. So it was trying to go enlist and serve. He really wanted to like obviously help, but the goal was to like further his own dreams. So after Brightest Day and Blackest Night, there was War of the Green Lanterns with him, and my personal favorite run for him was during the New 52. So I know I know those words are kind of triggering.
That's not a lot of. I mean, Aquaman fans can say that. That was a good time for him as
That's
well.
what I'm saying. He was fine.
But
like, Mike was fine.
Not everybody can say that.
They cannot. So I am sorry for y'all whose fave were struggling during that time, but John was doing great during the Green Lantern Corps New 52. I would actually recommend that as kind of a more modern run for people to get into. Obviously, I would go back and read a lot of his older stuff, the Sinestro Corps War, the Cosmic Odyssey stuff. But the New 52 stuff was really kind of like where he got to be the forefront of it. A lot of the times before, he was helping out with the League or he was helping out with the Corps, but he wasn't really like the central character in the Corps books. But the New 52 run, I think it was Robert Venditti was the writer. He specifically made sure that he was the lead of the book. Kind of to the point now where like whenever there's a Green Lantern Corps book, I think people used to anyway kind of assume that John was going to be like leading the Corps somehow.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I would definitely recommend that. That's the run that I know I've seen post some stuff, him and Fatality.
Oh, that's a hot couple. Yes. How would you? So I know did you read any of the current book that he's in right now?
I read that first issue and wasn't the biggest fan. I started the Future State stuff, and tell me y'all if it's gotten better. But the Future State books did not hit for me at all. And Future State was what the books were supposed to be like leading towards, right?
Yeah.
So like I was like, if that's what we're going towards, I don't think I'm gonna like this at all. So I did try to give that first issue like a try because it's John. And that's my favorite I wanted to see, but I wasn't really into the writing. But I think I may tap back into it on DC Infinite and see
where it's gotten to. Where would you kind of want to see? Well, especially now with like when you think about the whole like Death of Justice League thing that's about to happen. Where do you kind of think you see John falling in that spectrum? I don't think he's going to be one of the ones to die.
I don't think so either.
So like, if he's like, do you kind of want to see him like as the Green Lantern again? Because I know there's also Jo, the girl.
Yes. Honestly, and I think that he could do well with this role. I talked about earlier where Parallax was this entity of fear. Basically every color spectrum in the Corps, they have their own like entity of energy, like this energy being that represents them or whatever. And Parallax was for the yellow fear, and for Will, it's Ion. Now, there was a time where I think he didn't have his ring, but Kyle Rayner, he was Ion.
The forgotten
he got possessed by Ion. Ion basically like can pick a champion or whatever and give them like Green Lantern powers, but without the ring. And I personally feel like that is what John should be. I don't think he should be Green Lantern anymore. I think that like he has kind of done that a lot to the point where they've asked him once before if he wanted to be like an Alpha Lantern amongst the Corps, and those are like the senior people. He did not want to be an Alpha Lantern because he was like, something ain't right with them. Turns out something wasn't right with them. But like he's been a Green Lantern for so long that I think that it's time for the next step for him. It's the same way that I think Hal does not need to be a face of Green Lantern anymore. He should just be Parallax or dead. John, at least in the comics anyway, we haven't gotten a lot of it outside of like the jail and Justice League Unlimited cartoons. But like we haven't gotten it in live action in any way, so I would like to see Green Lantern there. But in the comics, I'm fine with him becoming Ion and just give him like the powers or whatever, and amongst everyone, he is now Ion.
Do you have anyone, speaking of the movies, do you have anyone who you'd like to see cast as him? I remember they had that boy. He said he was supposed to be like John, but did you like that? Would you want to see somebody else? Do you kind of still want to see him pop back up?
I saw that they cast that actor, and I saw the pictures, y'all. Yes, I saw the like little clips of him getting in his like green or whatever. But it was not giving. So, and I don't think we need to be associated with like the Snyderverse of movies. Let's just all move on. So I would just get a whole new actor. There was a time where I don't know. I still kind of want it. I think I really would like Yaha to be Green Lantern, but I mean, he's already been Black Manta, so I don't know how. But I mean, the multiverse exists, so
yeah, it's all true. It's all true. I mean, I'm never gonna say no to more Yaya. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I either want him to be Green Lantern or Wonder Man. Either of those would work for me.
Oh, he would be a good Wonder Man too.
Right, wouldn't it be fun with like
very
him in the
showy,
glasses,
very flashy in the glasses, walking around, being like the celebrity guy that everybody wants to see. Yeah, that's
he's like, oh, why does everyone think I'm hot? But like, you hot. Yeah, put that out there in the universe. But yeah, I would like to see John in. I would like to see Yaha play him. Outside of that, I used to really be a part of the Idris fan club of him being Green Lantern, but I feel like that's never in the Idris.
I was never in that one. I got to be honest with you.
Really, I back then, like when the campaigns for that started, I was seeing it.
I don't know. It's that also like attributes to my thinking of seeing as John is old.
Yeah, and like they specifically bring up in the comics that John is 10 years younger than Hal. Like. Hal says something about like getting the ring or whatever. He was like, oh, I should have been the one to get the ring instead of you when you first got it. And he was like, you were like 10. what do you mean? And then another time they like talked about their relationship when they were training was like Hal was the old man and John was like the younger. I can do it.
Okay. Guy. I can understand that. I think, I was never in the Idris fan club though because of that. But I like your fan casting of Yaha. I'm always gonna agree to seeing more of him. I will say I was in the Trevante Rhodes fan camp.
I was also in that one too.
That's a good one. I was like, I enjoyed that.
To that one. Absolutely high.
I support that one a lot too.
Yeah. And again, y'all, please, artists out there, when y'all drawing John, don't draw him so old. I think that the cartoon made him older because, again, amongst the other lanterns, he's the responsible one. Like he's the one that's like, let's think this stuff through. But when you look at the cartoon, he couldn't be seen as the young one.
Like the young guy,
right?
Especially like when you had someone like Flash in that cartoon, who was very obviously like the younger character of the team. John always gave you older, wise, respected.
So then they take that as old. But you can, I think it's okay to be like wise and not have to like be significantly older than everybody else. But we'll see. I would love it if they gave him more focus in their like Green Lantern initiatives.
Because he's not going to be in that show they announced, is he?
No, he's not. Yeah, but that show is weird. It's like it's an anthology, and all the characters are like different eras. Like I think in the 50s it's gonna be Scott and like how he was like gay back then, also a Green Lantern. And then the 90s. The 80s, I think, will be John. I'm sorry, the 80s will be Guy. And
I like Guy.
Then, which makes sense for him to be during the 80s. And then the 90s, I think, is going to be like some new character, some new female character that they created, which did make sense because like Joe was right there.
It's a lot of girls I could use.
It's a lot of them, but
that's
you know how DC is.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I never make the right decisions, so. I don't know if I'll be watching that. But yeah, I would appreciate it if we had a lot more of John in these like initiatives with the Green Lantern. I would love a Green Lantern animated series that focused on him. One of my favorite, actually no, two of my favorite DC animated movies are actually, they star Hal, but like they're Green Lantern related, and I kind of wish that it was about John. And it's Green Lantern First Flight and Green Lantern Emerald Knights. First Flight is really good. It stars Hal, but like the Lantern stuff and lore in it, everybody else is really great in it. Maybe we should do a rewatch of that once. But the Emerald Knights is really good. It's like a anthology being told about all these different lanterns and all of it. Like Mogo is in it and Sinestro. But it's also being told from the perspective of this really probably one of their most famous stories of Krona's return. And Krona, if anyone out there is unaware, is the reason that there's a multiverse. So the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Guardians of the Guardians of the Universe are like the little blue guys, and like there's this rule that you're not supposed to see the beginning of time or like how like it was all created. Well, Krona didn't care, so he created a machine to go back and try to see like the creation of time, and he actually saw like the hand that was gonna like disperse the universe or whatever, and his machine ended up exploding, and that like caused an eruption and caused like the universe to shake, and multiple Earths got created. So like that's where Krona's the cause of the multiverse, and because of that they ended up like turning him into energy and locking him away into the antimatter universe, and like every so often he breaks out and tries to fight everybody and kill everybody. And they made a movie about it, an animated. It's pretty good. The animation in it is spectacular. A lot of death, but it's pretty good. I definitely recommend it to you. But again, John isn't in it. So, but like, I just I would like animated movies with John in them, just to kind of push him out there. Animation and like live action movies just have a bigger reach than comics. And I think that John will do some great stuff there. But he's been in the video games a lot, and I honestly think that people associate like Green Lantern with John. There was one of my close friends like back in college, when they were doing stuff with Green Lantern. I want to say actually when this Green Lantern animated movie was coming out, he sent it to me and was like, "Who is this on the cover?" And it was Hal, and I was like, "Oh, that's Hal Jordan." And he was like, "Why is he white? I thought the Green Lantern was black." Because all he knew, my friend was black. I'm sorry, my friend was white, and he was like, "I thought Green Lantern was black," and he was like, "All I've ever known was the Justice League cartoon."
From the cartoon, I was about to say, I think that cartoon like made a really big impression on everybody in terms of Green Lantern and like who he is and
impact.
It hits.
Okay, it's impact. He is the second black DC superhero. And I also will highly recommend everyone to check out the DC universe, the other history of the DC universe. That first issue with Black Lightning and the stuff that was kind of being brought up with John in there, and just truly how he was kind of like the first real big superhero. So he was like on his own and really just kind of figuring stuff out, and kind of really shows how he is super pragmatic, but like needs to help you. You don't need to do it all on your own. Like you can like ask for help, get the help. Later he ended up learning because of the whole Zanshi thing, but prior to that, yeah, I think that like John is still one of my favorite characters. I really hope everybody out there kind of like is into John at least. Give him a shot. If you're looking for some newer stuff to check out, definitely look into the New 52 era for him, the Green Lantern Corps. I think it's volume 3. Definitely check that out. But yeah, that's like my little character corner on John Stewart. I would love to see him become Ion DC. It's okay if you take this idea. Sure, slide me a check, but like it's okay if you want to take that idea. But yeah, I think Green Lantern is a really dope character who I think has lasted the test of time. He ain't going nowhere. But I'm sure definitely see some real like thought and action and stuff put behind him. So yeah, that's my little character corner on him. So let's take a break and then we'll come right back.
Cool. All right. Hello. We We are back, and this is a special segment. We're doing another rewatch, and this time we watched, I guess it's a classic now, Black Panther.
It's truly iconic.
It's a classic. And it is directed by Ryan Coogler. It stars the late great Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace. Michael B. Jordan, Lupita Nyong'o, Denai Guerrera, Martin Freeman, Daniel Kaluuya, Letitia Wright, Winston Duke, Angela Bassett, Forrest Whitaker, Andy Serkis, and this
cast is legendary.
It was really good. Like hit it out of the park. And so really quick, like superficial thing, but it was so interesting and funny to me when Angela Bassett got cast in this and they had her walking around. They started showing set pictures of her and her white hair because back in the day, who did all the girls want Miss Angela Bassett to be? But none other than Storm or Aurora Monroe. So I was like, look at that. We finally got our Storm.
Yeah. Some way.
But so going back and watching this movie, I actually haven't watched it in a really long time. It was the first time that I've seen it in a few months. I will say I started thinking back to when I saw it in the theaters. I saw it multiple times in the theaters.
Me too.
I think I actually went like 4 times to go and see it. And not even because I did think it was that great at the time, but not even because I thought it was just that great. It was just like I kept getting these opportunities to, like, someone was like, oh, I hadn't seen it yet, or I want to see it, but I hadn't. I was like, oh, well, let's go. I was like,
yeah,
we want to go see it. And like each and every time I went back, I enjoyed it a little bit more. And remembering those experiences in the theater and like people screaming at certain moments and like yelling. And like even when I was watching this one this time, the scenes with Sterling K. Brown and he's like acting. And I'm just like, I'm feeling this. In the beginning, in the beginning, when T'Chaka first comes back and Zuri reveals himself as the traitor, we hate snakes over here, and like Sterling's character is like, you? I was like, I felt that. That betrayal. I was like, yeah, I would have shot at him too. Even though I got
yeah. I rewatching it this time, I really did have some flashbacks. I don't know why. Probably because I was just getting ready for this show and just relived seeing it in the theaters and the hype that I was feeling during watching it. That casino fight,
everything,
baby.
And that was some really good camera work right there with the stunts and everything from Denai as Okoye, when she's swinging around her spear and she's jumping from the balcony down to the ground.
When she jumped off that balcony, bro, I was like, oh, I'm here.
The dress is flowing, the camera's following her down. I was like, this is a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's given.
It was really hot. And
I loved a lot of the things that the emotions that were kind of being brought up while I was rewatching it this time around, and just remembering all the the shouts in the theaters that people were making, and just and it hits differently now, after Chadwick has passed. Just watching it, it's oh my gosh, he really was
everything
killing T'Challa. Right, wow.
It was so good.
It was impressive. Yeah.
And it's of course one of those things where it's he was really the first to give it and do it, and it's just damn, you really knocked it out the park. Because the MCU, they have some good castings nowadays, but it wasn't always that way. And so to have a lot of that anticipation, that hype, I guess even that expectation about how you were supposed to portray this character, and it's just you met everyone and you exceeded to the point where now people don't ever want to see anybody else in this role.
No. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Which will have to be
me.
something we end up crossing a road when we get to it, I'm sure, in the MCU.
Watching this again, loved Chadwick in this role. He made it. He is great. I do still support longer down the road though a recasting of him.
Yes.
I just think, and even just again, I feel in nature, in the way movies work with reboots and reshuffles and the multiverse and all of that stuff now coming into play, they'll bring somebody else in to do that. You want to see Storm and T'Challa get married.
Exactly. You want to see that in that relationship and the breakup. But also you want to. Black Panther is such a important character in the Marvel universe. So I feel his presence is kind of needed. So I would like to see them kind of do a
Although
recasting.
I will say, you know, rewatching this again, I don't mind Letitia Wright as Shuri. I like her. I think she is like the right amount of brainy and corny and like quirky and serious that I'm because she's going to be the lead of the sequel now, right?
I hope not. I don't know about all of that one.
I thought that was like the thing. Like she's kind of taking the lead. They might lean into her story about her becoming the Black Panther.
I don't know Letitia Wright, so I can't really speak on her.
Okay.
But like, I don't know. She give me bad vibes. I don't know. I don't really like her like that.
So I mean, I know there was a lot of stuff going on. So this is one of those things too. You know, we're gonna talk about like all the things that were being said about the movie and like her, and they were saying she was like spreading this anti-vax information, and she was removed from the movie. But it was like all of it was hearsay.
You're right.
Disney never.
Don't nobody know.
Disney never said anything. She never said anything. All we know was that like something happened. It paused. And then she came back, and they said she got injured on set.
Right.
So it's just like, I don't know. She's fine in the movie.
People out of time though. But I feel like she. I don't know if I see it for her to carry a whole movie by herself as like the lead.
I do agree with that, and that in that vein, I really also
I feel like that's probably sexist because like whatever, but like
I think the women should all be leading the movie. I don't necessarily think Letitia
I agree.
Can do it by herself, but I think when you have Letitia as Shuri, when you have Denai as Okoye, and then you add in Lupita as Nakia, I think those three together can like really carry this movie where it needs to go and like continue to branch on the universe.
Honestly, I think Okoye could do it by herself.
Period.
Now,
if we want to go there, we can go there. I also agree. She was the moment in this movie.
Stole the movie for me.
She had every
I
line,
like
she had every quote.
Genuinely wanting to see more of her in the comics.
100%. And then like she started getting a push in the comics. She was like, yes, because they was based it off of this.
Absolutely. And like you were saying, they gave her all like the story, the costume, all of it looked good. And Denai being cast was fantastic. Perfect casting there. And like I said, like this movie made me really want to get more into her in the comics. I'm not the biggest Black Panther fan. I am actually into like the people around him more so than him. Yeah. I never really find myself interested in like the king monarch kind of characters. But it's usually the people around like those characters I can kind of get into. So I've read some Black Panther stuff. It didn't last that long because it obviously would start to focus on T'Challa. But I was excited to see more of her like in the comics and see her kind of grow. Loved her in that Taskmaster mini. Also, make sure y'all check that out. Yeah. I'm okay with that.
I like to go. I'm not really a big Black Panther fan. Excuse me. I do agree with that. I like a lot of his surrounding characters. I am into the Dora. I like when they're the Midnight Angels. I like Queen Divine Justice. If you've ever heard of her, I like Vibraxis. I like the concept of vibranium to an extent.
Yeah.
T'Challa, I'm usually into like the king monarchy type characters who like hold some powers, but I'm not into them when they are that and also kind of fall into that super genius, I know everything, I'm always a step ahead of everybody, infallible type. Like the name, I don't like Namor for that reason either. And he's arrogant. I don't like arrogant characters.
I like a little sass. You know?
Because it's like he's gonna knock you in your mouth.
Yeah, he needs to get locked a little bit. But thank you. I like the arrogant ones that can kind of back it up.
But I think Okoye is like the bee's knees of the entire like Wakandan world.
Absolutely.
I also did like how they
they're giving her a
explored
spinoff.
them. Period, and she deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
I do also wonder though if they'll bring in for the second film that whole intergalactic empire of Wakanda bit, because I know that's taken like a very big precedent in his comics. Like it's like everything.
Yes.
And so I think about that, and like again, this is a way to when you just think about Wakanda and the way the MCU is going now and expanding, and everybody kind of gets their own spin-off or Disney Plus series or something like that. Like I feel like that is the next step for Wakanda, and like taking them to space and getting more of those characters and building that world out even more.
I mean, they made sure to put in this movie, like in the opening, that there was vibranium came from space and it landed in Africa, so they can easily take it from there, and because that meteorite had to come from somewhere, right? So I think that they could easily tap back into that and kind of make it,
What did you think of
expansion.
Claw and Killmonger together?
Loved the two of them together. Claw is a fun villain, and I thought Andy Serkis was like fantastic as Claw. He has the right amount of like, that villainy, arrogance. And I was also okay with the way that they kind of changed Claw and kind of updated him for the MCU. He's not in his purple costume. But I liked that they kind of gave him his arm cannon, just a version of it. I thought that he was going to be around longer. I thought that we were going to get a variation of the purple costume because I figured he was going to make it beyond this movie. To be honest, this movie was the first time I started to realize that, Marvel really does kill a lot of their villains. And because I don't know much about Black Panther, but I know that one of his big villains was Claw. And I thought once he died, I was like, oh, well, who are we going to fight now? I've only like Claw to be his biggest one.
Random fun fact, would you know who also is one of a big villain for Claw? Dazzler. Well,
I didn't know
Claw's a big villain for her.
I knew that.
Yeah, they like fight all the time. That's fine.
That makes sense.
But I don't actually know who else Black Panther fights. I think the nation of Wakanda sometimes because they don't like him.
Always, it was always that.
But it's like the thing is in the movie they love him. Well, I mean, at least the people we saw love him. They might do something. I guess. Yeah. Well,
they may. Maybe I've always been under the impression that like the next phase for the Black Panther, prior to Chadwick's passing, I thought, Black Panther 2 is going to be about how the nation of Wakanda now like don't really like him because they saw his kingship be challenged, and yes, they saw him come and fight back, but they could easily have it where maybe some people may have agreed with Killmonger and like they want to do more, and then they had their borders opened up, and maybe people didn't want their borders opened up at all, as we saw like with what's his name that was in Get Out.
Daniel Wakabi.
In the beginning, he was telling T'Challa, I ain't really with like going out there and like doing all like opening up our borders. And he said like, if you want me and my men to like go out and change the world, then I'm with you. But like inviting people into this, I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
And quick aside about them. I'll never forget in the theater that moment where him and Okoye are standing off, and he's like, "Would you kill me, my love?" And she's like, "For Wakanda," without hesitation. The way it erupted in cheers, the people loved it.
The people went up. Yeah, they did it in mine too. They were going up. I mean, that's his moment. Like, yeah,
she had every line in the movie. That's her show.
Yeah, so I did think that Black Panther 2 was going to be like, the king is no longer like the loved one anymore, and we're going to like try to come back to that. He has to prove himself to the people, where they kind of question, are you a king or an Avenger?
So if you kind of don't want the movie to focus on Letitia as Shuri, what do you want it to kind of do?
I mean, I have no choice but to accept that Letitia's there. And I know that in the In the comic, she did become Black Panther. Now, granted, the MCU Shuri is much different and you're kind of younger than the 616 version, although they've also kind of like tried to de-age her and kind of make them similar with that MCU synergy. But I would rather them have Okoye take the mantle of Black Panther, while Nakia returns as Malice, like she did in the comic.
I do want Nakia to have her evil moment because I don't know too much about Nakia and all of them, but I know that she had like an evil moment, and I really want to see Lupita get to flex that and like be the bad girl.
So her evil moment in the comics were she was like in love with T'Challa. She wanted to obviously be with him, but he was with Monica Lynn. She tried to like attack her and like kill her, but it didn't work. Then she got like banished basically. And then like during this banishment, she got captured and like tortured, and Killmonger came to rescue her. And like during using or whatever kind of machine he was using to like heal her, he like basically turned her into Malice. And like she became more villainous and like, or at least she calls herself Malice, I should say.
I was about to say, did she get like powers or something?
No, she just like she was like tortured, so like he just like, I don't know, like regular healing, like not an enhanced kind of healing thing.
But he just like radicalized her a little bit.
Basically, like once she healed up, she was like, I was just banished from Wakanda, like, and Black Panther, like, I loved him, but he is with Monica. I want to do something. And he was like, you could come with me and be my general. And she was like, I'm going to be Malice.
We're like, okay.
So she became Malice. So I'm totally down with them doing that. And
that would be hot.
Like that again.
That would be really hot. I really do want Lupita to kind of get to do different stuff in this role than
maybe she can resurrect Killmonger.
That will also be a thing. They said he's supposed to come back, isn't he?
Think so. My idea is I think he's gonna come back in Multiverse of Madness, because I think on that in the trailer for Multiverse of Madness we see that shot of like the Illuminati. I think one of those is Killmonger as Black Panther.
I just the Multiverse of Madness is really gonna piss me off.
We're here. I hate the multiverse, but we're here.
It's about to give the out for so many things. You can bring so many people back. You can like just kind of like hand wave a couple things away.
Oh baby, you don't think Halle Berry ain't combing that white wig out right now? She waiting on the call.
When Wanda kills Jean.
That's gonna be crazy. Sansa, is it gonna be Sophie Turner's Jean? I think so.
I feel like it'll be Famke. I feel like that'll have more impact. Don't nobody care about Sophie Turner Jean.
But with a cast like this, the budget getting kind of tight. Sophie might be cheaper than.
That's a word. That's a word. If that's the way they bring Killmonger back, though, that'll be interesting. Honestly, when I heard or saw the article that he was going to be in the movie, I was like, it was going to be like a flashback or something, or like a vision. Nothing too big, nothing too crazy. But now that you said that, I can totally see a multiversal version of him coming back into play.
I would prefer it if Shuri, or not Shuri, Nakia was the one to like, I don't know, magically do it on her own. Not that he came from like the multiverse, but
yeah,
the multiverse now I feel like is just going to be a very easy way to just explain things going forward. I honestly would not be surprised if that's how they recast Black Panther.
Yeah, no, that's kind of what I was assuming too. Like maybe like 2 years. I think we'll see. Or
personally for me, I would be okay with them to just recast the actor, but just keep the story going. Like I don't need an in-universe reason for why he was gone.
I understand what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
So do you think if we got into the sequel, you'd kind of want them to be like, oh, like he's just on a mission somewhere else, and now we focus on
and now in this time he's gone right now or whatever, and then they're here they're like, he's, I don't know, off wherever, and they have to fill in him.
He off
And
the storm.
Sure, that's fine. Let's do that. I've actually done like a kind of a 180 on their relationship. But previously, I used to be like very anti Black Panther and Storm. And I do still hold the notion that they were definitely put together because they was the only two popular Black characters. At the same time, like, whatever. I don't need them to be together. I prefer them to be like what they are right now. Like, it's like, we ain't together, but
we together, but we're not together. Like, it's very much
right.
I don't think they'll ever be able to be in a space, especially with their current positions now, with him being the king of Wakanda and her being the regent of the soul system, that they'll ever be in a spot where they are able to be together in like the traditional sense of a relationship. They won't be able to like live together and be cuddled up and going on date nights and honeymoons and all that stuff. But however, when they're both on a political campaign and they happen to be at the same place, or like there's some type of big meeting for all of the nations and they're both there, yeah, they're gonna hang up. Or like when she got to travel to Wakanda on the weekend or something like that, T'Challa can tell his girlfriend or whoever he like, oh, you gotta leave, my wife is coming home.
Now you can call her still a wife.
Because we know. I even think that was one of the things that Storm, I'm sorry, not Storm. Well, Storm did say it to a woman during the Coates run, where she was like, you know, I'm not going to be here for T'Challa all the time because I'm doing my own stuff. But like, if he occasionally needs like, you know, a shoulder to cry on, or you can be there. And I remember the girl was like, oh, you want me to give him the Storm's like, it's nothing that you can give T'Challa that I can. She's like, I give him way more than you.
No, that's right.
She's just like, again, she's like, I'm just going out of town. And so I'm going to let you take care of him this weekend. But it's like, just know when I come back on Monday, you got to be gone. And I feel like that. And I feel like it's the same for like, you know, T'Challa with Storm. Like, she can be with her Logans and her Forges and all that stuff on the side. But it's like, she's like, I never said she says, I said I was single. I never said I didn't have a man. Okay.
Okay. He's just away.
He's just away. Now you got to go. So I enjoy that aspect of their relationship. I think it's very soulmates.
Yeah.
You know, like, you belong together. We're going to be together, but it's just like, we just can't be together.
We can't be together.
Because they're like,
and I mean, they also weren't the best together.
It was messy. He's a liar.
He's not nice to Storm.
Man.
He's a man. Yeah.
And again, their positions of power just won't allow it. He is Julius Caesar. She is Cleopatra. And they ain't gonna be together. They're gonna have some good times though.
That's hot though.
Have some good times though.
Yeah.
But I do like. I don't know. I would like to see it one day, and we'll come to that eventually whenever we get to that road. But what we have now of Black Panther and everything that was with this movie. One thing I also really love was the costuming and the way it presented. I believe it did. Yes.
Yes.
And the natives that they had between the different types of tribes, and like how it's still like drawing all these various cultures. It was like just really great to see. Like the border.
They really took their like care with it.
Very much so, and it was just beautiful. Like, this was a good movie. It's a classic. It's iconic.
It truly is.
Everything.
Now, were you one of the ones who, you know, had a problem with that ending? Because I will say, is this movie legendary? Yes. Now were some of them rhinos looking a little weird? Yeah.
And you know what's crazy? Like, when I was watching that scene again and the rhinos came out, I was like, who said like this is what we I was like, who was like sitting in the writer's room like, oh, you know what will really spice this up? Rhinos.
Some rhinos.
It was just like, okay. I mean, I think that is honestly just kind of an MCU issue across the board. So
I'm not wobbly. But I mean, when you look at the rest of the movie, like,
it's beautiful.
Everything else is beautiful and expensive. I'm sorry, there was a little bit of a budget cut to get the rhinos in. You know,
you had to get those rhinos. But you know,
and his fight with Killmonger, sometimes it looked a little Gumby. But like,
I think, that was like, Yeah. And the suit was
Yeah.
like disappearing off of him, and it was going back. I was like, man.
Yeah.
But again, that's technically the standard for MCU. So it's like, is it bad or is it just like this is what it is?
It's because I mean a lot of the other girls ain't even doing that.
All right.
If we could really talk about it, a lot of the other movies ain't even giving you that much. So I'll take a little Rhino. But like overall, this movie is truly like legendary, iconic.
Agreed.
I will say some of y'all was doing too damn much in the movie theaters when this was coming out. I won't lie.
And so
yes.
It was a dark time. Like, the months leading up to it were bad, just because you had like all the constant like expectations of like, oh, if it doesn't do well, it's because of this. If it does do well, it's because of this. If it does well, there's these reasons. That was bad. Then the movie came out, and the Diaspora War started, and that was like. That was like craziness. But then on top of that, then you just start having all these people that was like, okay, we got this like black superhero, like he's dope. Then you had all these other races saying, okay, well, where's my Black Panther?
Yes.
Where's mine? And then you start getting all the anti-blackness, and it was just like
anti-blackness. All of a sudden, everybody wanted they Black Panther.
And it was just like, okay, this is crazy. And then on top of that, you start having the people like the Rumbles folks joining in, and that's how we got Okoye versus Wonder Woman, and that was like,
oh no,
that was a nasty.
I completely forgot about that one, and I was like, y'all, this is too much. They had her trying to fight Wonder Woman, and I was like, "Come on, y'all!"
And they said she was gonna wash her. It was crazy. It was crazy. Like, I need everyone to calm down for the sequel. We do not want any of that stuff again.
No,
it's like, but it's already bad because, like, look at Letitia. She was in the news every other week.
Well, that's on her. That's on her. We didn't cause her injury. We didn't have her come on Twitter and tweet about like anti-vax stuff, about like what's in the vaccine and Dr. CB and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, man, it's gonna be crazy. I cannot wait until this movie comes out. Oh my gosh.
Somebody said that the mouse strapped her to a table. And gave her the vax. Said, get your ass back on set.
Because it's like, we don't have time. She was playing games. Oh, man. We'll see. We shall see.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll be there for sure.
Same.
But like I said, I don't know how I necessarily feel about Shuri, but I'll be there for everybody else.
That's all.
And the thing is, she was good in this movie. Like
she was.
She wasn't like
enjoyable.
She was enjoyable. She was enjoyable. I don't know about that girl. I don't know. Something about it ain't feeling right. And she's in that movie with what is it, on the Nile?
Oh, is she?
To feel denial. Yeah, she's
I didn't know she was in that. That's not a good look. Not with her. Not her.
Yeah. Choices are being made, and it's
terrible. Overall, what would you rate Black Panther?
Honestly, an 8.5 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah, like a 4 out of 5.
I agree with both of those, the 4 out of 5 and the 8.5 out of 10. I think there was a lot to love. The acting was great. The casting was great. The Jabari, seeing them come, the action. The action was good. The way the suits looked in the beginning was good.
Winston Duke looked good.
Winston Duke did look very good. The Jabari tribe. If they didn't live up in the code, I would have been there.
Yeah. If they, I like a big man. I'm going over there. But it's too cold, so I don't know.
Like, I can't do it. They had T'Challa in the snow. I was like, nah, I can't do that. I'm sorry. This ain't for me.
What do you think I left Chicago for? No.
Okay.
Yeah. But so yeah, I would give it that. What would you rate it?
I agree. 8.5, 4 out of
Hmm.
5. I'm in that bird. I enjoyed this movie a lot. You guys be sure to let us know what you thought of the movie, your favorite parts, who you loved, what you're kind of like anticipating for the sequel, and if you are excited for Shuri.
Yeah. Or if you're excited for Namor. I heard the rumor he was going to be in the movie. And they're just going to kind of focus it on that. But I don't know how they're going to do that.
If he
I don't know.
destroys Wakanda, that's going to be a whole nother 6 months of arguing.
More fighting. Jeez.
Never.
That'll be something. No. All right, y'all. Well, that brings us to the end of the show. Please make sure you rate and subscribe us wherever you catch your podcasts. You can catch us on Twitter and Instagram at Another Relaunch. You can email us with any kind of questions you have or anything you want us to read out loud at anotherrelaunch@gmail.com. You can find me on most social media platforms at Uncanny LZ. Shout out to the people who have been adding me on PlayStation Network too. My PlayStation name is Marvel Man 90. So I'm definitely on to play. I've been playing some Destiny with some of y'all, so that's been fun. I gotta still like get my armor and stuff up, y'all. I told you, like I got some time to come back. I got some time to come back, but I'm also getting back into Mortal Kombat. So check me out if get beat up by Jade. So Keenan, where can they find you?
You guys know you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Keenan Lance, and there's an underscore at the end.
Boom. All right, y'all. Let's get up out of here, and we'll catch y'all next week.
No, we won't.
Oh yeah, we won't. That's right. I won't be here.
We're taking a break week.
We are taking a break week. Yes. So there won't be a new episode next week, but we will be back the following week. So yeah.
Don't miss us.
I'm gonna be traveling, and like I didn't want to bring this. And
girl, enjoy your life. It's okay.
Yeah. Y'all are catching me. But if you do see me, that wasn't me. All right, y'all. Peace out.